Hello and welcome back to The Drag Detective, where today we're going to be talking about Drag Race Season 17, because I don't remember a time, recently at least, where a season has had such a polarizing reception from fans. Like, looking at the last 5 regular seasons, 12 was universally liked, 13 was universally hated, 14, I guess, had a little bit of, like, variance in what people thought about it, but most people could agree with a lot of things about it taking too long, about how no one going home was annoying. And then seasons 15 and 16 were, like, pretty much liked by everybody. This season, I feel like, has such a stark contrast in how people feel about it. People either are, like, living, or people are like, this season is ass, or people are like, this season is fine, or I'm bored. So I have a lot of opinions today, taken both from Reddit in a post that I posted on Reddit, as well as some responses to a question that I asked on my Instagram. And I did the Reddit because I feel like the people on Instagram probably watch me and might be influenced by things that I say on my channel, but Reddit is like the control group, you know what I mean? So we'll be pulling from both of those. I'll be reading some of the responses to what people have been saying about the season, and I'll be giving my own insight on whether I agree, I disagree, but really this video is just to show the many opinions on season 17. So comment below, what do you think right now about this season? We're at episode 10 right now. We just had the Jules and Arrietty, showdown, and we're like coming into the close of the season. So let's read some opinions, let's see what people think, and we can all discuss together on if we agree or disagree with some of these points. So if you see me looking down, I have my laptop right here, and I will be reading from some of the screenshots I have, and then, yeah, we'll just be talking about it. So, first one we have is, Onya deserves to win, but won't because she doesn't have enough followers. This is a huge thing where WoW, obviously, and MTV, they obviously want a winner that the audience is really gravitating towards and who they can potentially, like, give some bigger opportunities to. Like, even last season, like, it was definitely between Saphira and Nymphia who was going to win that season. And Nymphia had a much bigger following, and that's not the only reason that she won, obviously. But I do think that was an enticing thing, that she was, potentially going to get a lot of pull from people. And if they put her on different shows, or they put her on, different web series, whatever they might do, they have her, go out there promoting the show. Like, people obviously like her enough to follow her, and she has a lot of support there. So, people now have said, like, if you don't have enough followers, you probably might not win the show. And Onya right now is, like, I think she's 6th or 7th in followers, and for a while she was, like, way in the back. But she has been leaping forward in followers, and she's getting close to that 100K, which I think only 4 or 5 queens on the season are at 100K. So we'll have to see where she's at in a couple weeks. But I think that Onya is someone they would like to crown, because if you do put her on, let's say she's on The Late Show, let's say that she's doing, like, a press thing, let's say that she's doing some YouTube content for them. She has, like, a huge and very charismatic personality that I think will win a lot of people over that might not have watched her season or even watched Drag Race at all, but they'll catch this drag queen and they're like, oh, hey, she has a great personality, she's cool. And I feel like that's something enticing to the higher-ups at WoW and MTV, regardless of necessarily how many followers, because she's not that far behind right now. But again, there's still, like, 6 weeks left, so we'll see what happens. Okay, it is really exciting to have so many frontrunners this far into season 17. And I agree, I feel like this is not a season where there's a clear winner or a clear top 2. We have almost everybody left has a win, and there's not anybody that has an insane amount of wins that's, like, so far ahead. This really feels like a very even cast when it comes to wins. And I might think that Onya is, like, maybe way far ahead of everyone else when it comes to just, like, the whole package and how she's done all season. But I feel like when you're just looking at track record and you're just looking at, like, win distribution, there's not a clear front runner or a clear, 2 people in the lead like there are on a lot of other seasons at this point. It feels like a lot of people could sneak in and get into that top 3. I love Acacia Forgot's name because it reminds me that I want to forget this season. Why? I think this is a fun season. I'm having a good time. I think this is, like, we're getting a lot of drama. We're getting a lot of, like, intense relationships that we're getting to see, like, evolve and change throughout the season. Like, with, obviously, Jules and Arrietty. Like, with Sam and Lexi. I don't know. We're gonna see a lot of people have this kind of just, like, hateful opinion on this season. And I don't get it. Because it's like, what more could you want? Like, feel like it's giving everything to us right now. This person said, best modern season of Drag Race since season 12. I would 1000% agree with that. I think season 12 is my favorite season of Drag Race ever. And I think this is the closest we've gotten to season 12 with like the chemistry between the cast, the cool runways, the drama, the like all of the stuff that you love. I feel like this season is the strongest since season 12. Cory gave the season so much life, and it won't be as fun to watch without her. Now, if you listen to the Rigged Recap with me and Kayla Says every week, you know that we love Cory. I've been a fan of Cory for so many years, and obviously she didn't do as well on the show as we would have hoped, but I feel like she set herself up perfectly to become a huge star postseason. You know what I mean? Like, she has her YouTube, she has her TikTok, she's doing things that are going viral, like her Michael Jackson cosplay and her Suzie 2 cosplay. And, you know, there is something to be said about flopping the show, but then doing great afterwards, because then if you come back to the show, you can pretty much only go up from there. You know what I mean? Like, Cory was never in the top once on season 17. So if she comes back for All Stars 11, All Stars 12, like, she just needs to do well in like 1 or 2 challenges, and she's already done better. You know what I mean? So like, I am sad that Cory's gone. I'm sad that Cory didn't kill the season, but I think that her career is going to be fine. And I think that a lot of people ended up really, really liking her, and that does great for her longevity in her career. So love Cory King. Love Cory King. This person says Onya should have won the Rusical. And I agree. You know, Onya in the Rusical, she just had so much charisma. She had some of the hardest dance moves. She sang the best. And I feel like they didn't give her the win at that point because Onya, to me, is so clearly ahead of everyone else when it comes to just the competition. She's done well every single week except for one. And I feel like if they gave her her 3rd win this early, it would have been just a little bit too obvious that she is like running away with this entire thing. But I agree, Onya should have won the Rusical. Joella's episode 3 design challenge look was pretty good. Honestly, the first design challenge, I thought we were going to be in for like great design challenges all season long, because basically everyone in that first design challenge did incredibly. And even the bottom 2, like obviously Lucky, makeup was crazy, the look wasn't great, but it's not like the worst we've ever seen. You know, you're looking at the bottom 3 from that episode. That is far from the worst that we have seen in design challenges. But I feel like with every design challenge, the group as a whole just kind of did worse and worse. So we've gotten all 3 of the design challenges out of the way, and, you know, I'm not necessarily like hoping for a 4th. Whereas like with season 16, they were doing so well that I would have been fine if they had a 4th one. This season is boring AF, and people are only engaging with it because they're not airing anything else. I don't get how this season could be boring. Like, I understand some of the critiques that, like, maybe this isn't the most, like, talented group of queens that's ever been on the show. But they are delivering non-stop drama, non-stop storylines. Like, I don't know, I get behind a lot of critiques for this season, but to call it boring, it is many things. But I would not say it is boring. This season is top 5 of all time. And guess what? If Onya wins, absolutely. I could agree with that statement. Sam's Cher impersonation was bad. She won the Rusical for playing ball with the story they'd given her. I don't know if her Cher was bad, but she was my like 3rd or 4th favorite in that challenge. I think that she did well, but I do think that storyline had a lot to do with it. They were like, we don't want to give the win to Onya because, you know, we just don't want her to be too far ahead this early in the season. And here's Sam, you know, we're saying, hey, we need more personality. We need to see the fun side. We need to see something different from you. And she does that and does it well. I do think that's an enticing reason to give somebody a win. But I do want to say, I did not live for Sam Star at the beginning of the season, but with every single week, I love her more and more and more. And I am a huge Sam Star stan now. Like, I would love to see her at the end. I think she is so much fun to watch. She's great in the confessional. She's just really good at drag. And yeah, you can call me a shooting star, if you will. Very talented cast, huge potential for drama, but producers have not been able to squeeze it properly. I would say potentially yes before the last episode, but I feel like with the Arrietty and Jules, you know, fiasco with the roast, they squeezed every drop they could out of that storyline, and it was perfect. It was amazing. I think that like this cast definitely loves to fight, but I also think that they genuinely do like each other. So whenever they're fighting, it's not because they can't stand this bitch. It's more just because there's like some kind of disagreement. And so because there's not necessarily like, I hate this person feelings involved, some of the drama won't escalate to as far as, you know, it has in other seasons. I think it is so refreshing to have a season where it has not been blatantly obvious who will win. Absolutely. I think that obviously I want Onya to win. I am like 100% team Onya, but I don't think it's a slam dunk clear win for her, as much as I would love for that to be. You know, I could see someone like Lexi, you know, if she really gets her act together these last few weeks. I could see Sam. I could see Jules taking it from Onya. Or I guess not from Onya, but instead of Onya. Lexi was overhyped. She's good TV. I enjoy her, but I don't think she has any chance of winning this season. I don't know if she was necessarily overhyped, because I still think she's an incredible drag queen. I love her personality. I've loved her kind of arc throughout this season. But I think maybe people thought she would do better than she did, because she does exude this like top bitch energy. Like, you can't touch her. She's going to kill everything. She has those vibes. But once you get to know her on the season, you see that there's a lot of kind of growing that she's going through. And she's definitely in kind of like a flux part of her life that, you know, maybe this wasn't the most perfect moment for her to be on the show, but we're also getting to see just a lot of heart and a lot of, you know, great storylines from her. So I don't think she was overhyped. I love her just as much as I did at the beginning of the season. I don't think she's doing as well as we all hoped, but, you know, I still think she's delivered so much. She's been like one of the main, if not the main character of the season. And I love her. I'm a huge Lexi Love stan. So whether she makes it to the end or not, I think she will have made a huge stamp on the season. And, you know, they have been doing repairs in my building all week long. I've been waking up at like 7:30 to just hammering. So if you hear anything in the background of this video, sorry, I apologize. Jules deserves the crown with how consistent she's been. So this was in before the last episode where she was finally in the bottom. But yeah, I feel like Onya and Jules are the two most consistent queens in this season, because there have been 10 episodes and they've done well in 9 of them. And, you know, they've shown that they can do design, they can do comedy, they can do performance, they can do it all. So I would say Jules and Onya right now are my top 2. And they've kind of been my top 2 for, I would say, the last maybe 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah, I love Jules Sparkles. I love her personality. I love her drag. And I think that she's, you know, willing to kind of give a little bit with the storylines, which producers love. And those are all great things for someone who, you know, they potentially could crown in a couple weeks. So I fully agree. I think Jules has been super consistent. Onya is competition-wise by far the best. Agreed, and I've already talked about that a lot, so I won't keep gushing on about Onya as much as I, you know, could do it all day long. The order of the challenges makes no sense. Too many people for the Snatch Game and also for the roast. I agree, and I feel like, you know, with the roast and the Snatch Game, there were people that we barely saw anything of. You know, like in the Snatch Game, we didn't really see Acacia Forgot, we didn't see Cory King, we didn't see Lydia B. Collins, and in the roast, we barely saw Sam or Onya. And, you know, I think it's cool to do these challenges earlier because, like, maybe more people can get a shot at it. But if there's not enough time in the edit to really dedicate to, like, show how everyone truly did, I don't think you should do it. I think, like, Snatch Game at 8 and Roast at 6 is kind of, like, that sweet spot. And they keep trying to, like, move things earlier, and it just doesn't work. So I think they like to push some of these, you know, beloved challenges earlier in the season so that people are, like, staying interested in the season and keep wanting to come back and watch. But at the same time, if it's making those challenges less satisfying to watch, maybe just keep them where they're best. I think the storytelling is quite strong. Last episode, I feel like everyone got a storyline. I agree. Obviously, some of the early outs didn't get a ton of stuff to work with, like Crystal Envy or Acacia Forgot. But I feel like everyone in the top 8 or even 9, we got to know super, super well. They have kind of an arc, they have a journey, and I feel something about all of them. Now, whether that is, you know, love or disdain, that's a good thing. I should feel something for every single person left at this point in the competition. And there's been plenty of seasons where that's not the case. So I think that is another one of the biggest strengths of this season is the edit, is how much time they're putting into all of these queens. And yes, it's not perfect. Like I said, there were people that got a little bit overshadowed. But you know what? Like, I think this is better than a lot of past seasons have done. So I think that's a huge strength. Doechii was the best thing to happen on this season. Yes, that's so true. I've like sort of been knowing Doechii a bit, but not that much. And then Alter Ego was a lip sync, and I was like, this song is incredible. And then she performed at the Grammys, and that was my favorite performance of the night. And now I am like Doechii's #1 fan. So absolutely, Doechii was incredible. She was a great judge. She looked great. And she supplied one of the best lip syncs of this entire season with Alter Ego. So yes, love Doechii. Lexi Love is getting heavy favoritism from the judges. I don't know if she's getting favoritism because I feel like if they wanted to, they could have given her the win in the Betsy Johnson Design Challenge. But I also feel like she could have been in the bottom for Snatch Games. So I feel like those two things kind of balance out. And then every other week, I completely agree with her placement. So I don't think that there's a lot of favoritism going on for Lexi. I think that people are more disappointed in her than maybe is warranted because they had such high expectations. But most of the season, I feel like she's done fine. She's done safe. And then the last couple of weeks, she's kind of been like fluctuating between incredible and bad. But I feel like they kind of put her where she should be. Except for the Snatch Game. MTV is making drag reality TV again. They're casting younger, scrappier, and riskier queens. And I feel like there's the vibe on this season that they all agreed, hey, we're gonna make really, really good TV, and we're gonna be nasty at points, and we're gonna call each other out on shit, but at the end, we'll, be sisters and it'll be fine. That's the vibe I get, especially because so many of them hang out in real life constantly. So while there is a lot of kind of, disdain for how young this cast is, I also feel like one of the strengths is they all kind of know what the show is expecting and what they can do to make it better, whereas sometimes older queens aren't willing to play ball like that. So, it's kind of like a scale, and there's good things and there's bad things, but I think that's definitely one of the better things about having a younger cast. And this is what I mean about the differing opinions, because the next one says, these bitches are too young to make TV. I fully disagree. I feel like if you had an older queen who was super established, 38, 39, I don't think that she would steal jokes. Because I feel like that's a thing that an older, more mature person would be like, that's gonna look bad on me. But if you get a young queen in there, she's like, I don't fucking care. I'm just here to win. I don't care. And that's what Arrietty did. So I think that these queens know how to make good TV, and I think that being young is part of it because they have less long of a career that they're worried about tarnishing, if that makes sense. This cast is more enjoyable, entertaining, and memorable off the show than on it. I disagree. I think that they're entertaining on and off. I think that they're really taking advantage of social media and hyping up their brands. And I think we're seeing a lot of queens are hitting 100K that didn't do well on the show or aren't doing well on the show, but are doing really well on social media and making sure that people are wanting to go follow them. So I think that they're doing great in both. While others may be more polished, Lydia has the best looks that show off her drag. I go back and forth about Lydia's looks. I feel like I either adore or don't love Lydia's looks. The nail look, I loved that. This guts look that she just wore, loved that. But I do feel like some of her looks, they just have a lot of ideas and a lot of things on the silhouette, and they can just be very overwhelming. So I definitely see her brand and how she likes to, make fashion and how she likes to dress herself. And I think that that's good. But I do think it can be hit or miss sometimes, depending on the look. This season lost all of the interesting queens in the beginning. I think, obviously, Lucky Stars going home first was an absolute travesty. Joella was such a fun personality. I loved Hormona. But I still think that we have a lot of really cool queens left right now that are adding a lot of drama and fun to the show. I just think overall, this is a great cast with very few misses. And even if someone isn't giving in the competition aspect, they're giving in the drama, or they're giving in the delusion, or they're giving in something else. I really don't think there was a dud on this cast. This flip on Suzie is insane. Y'all are not immune to propaganda, and it's showing. That sounds like a Suzie Toot fan if I ever heard one. Is it propaganda, or is your fave just acting a little bit out of pocket? Which is fine. It's a TV show. I love that Suzie is giving so much drama and being so delusional and doing all of these things. But to say it's propaganda, the tutors, see, this is why the tutors and I can't get along. It feels like most queens aren't thinking of how to win, but how to become the fan favorite. I don't think that's just a thing for this season. I think that is Drag Race within the last 5 years. Because there are so many queens, and because they're not all going to get all the followers, and, when it was only 7 queens, it was easy to just follow every single one of them and be a fan of every single one of them and commenting on all of their posts and, doing all of that. But after 17 seasons plus international, plus all these other all-stars, whatever, it is impossible to keep up with everyone. So you have to do things to become memorable. And a lot of them go in and they're like, you know what, I'm probably not going to win. So let me just focus on getting the fan base and getting, the followers and getting like the people behind me that will then get me back on an All-Stars where maybe I could win. So I feel like people go on the show for different reasons and that's been the same since the beginning. That's not like a new thing. Not everyone goes on reality TV shows to win. Not everyone goes in with that mindset of I'm going in to win. And that's fine. There might be more of a ratio of queens that are there to, get internet fame or to, come back for an All-Stars or to blow up on social media than there was 10 years ago. But I still don't think that is like just specific to this season. The overall talent level is lower this season compared to last, but it's more entertaining. I would agree with that. The lip syncs this season have not been as good as season 16. The runways this season have not been as good as season 16. But I do think this season is overall more entertaining, and I'm having more fun with this season than I did with season 16, which I loved season 16. I thought it was great. This one is just like a tad bit better to me, and I feel like it's because this cast came to make great TV, which a lot of people said about season 16 as well, but I feel like even more people on this season have that mindset, which is just making it so much fun every week, especially watching it at the bar, because there's been so many gaggy moments that the bar has just been like blowing up and like losing their minds over, and it just makes for such a fun watching experience. Season has been mess since Hormona left. Something's been missing since she left. Bring back Hormona for All-Stars. I love Hormona Lisa so much. I am obsessed with her, and I do think that we lost her a little bit too soon. I would have loved to see Hormona last a little bit longer, especially for some of these comedy challenges like Snatch Game and stuff. I would love to have seen what she would have done. Aside from Suzie's one Delulu ep, the other queens are just straight up bullying her for no reason. I wouldn't say it was bullying, and I think we know exactly why, the reason that they have been teasing her and messing around with Suzie Toot. I think it's very clear exactly why that is. Again, the tutors, yeah, some of you. I think a mandatory meeting scared the girls because they are all painting this season. The mugs on this season are stunning. Like Cory King, beautiful. Lydia Butthole Collins, stunning. Lexi Love with the more like natural, everyone on this season is so pretty, and I don't know how it's possible. And I think that's why the only makeup critique we've ever gotten is for Arrietty so far, which is bullshit. Okay, so those were all responses from my Instagram poll. Now, this is the Reddit thread. So these are a bit longer, and there might be more that we can dissect. So the first one says, I enjoy this season a lot. It's surprising and unpredictable. One day you love a queen, and the next she's involved in a drama or starts her delusional era. The storylines are not the ones we usually get. I'm always curious about what is going to happen next. The challenges were mostly good, and I really liked the cast. It might not be the most packed with good at the game powerhouse queens, but I enjoy the diversity drag-wise and personality-wise. I also like the more subtle way to show storylines. The showmance was shown enough and it felt more authentic. Same with Sam and Lexi's friendship. I think this is like exactly how I would describe this season. Like, I feel like what they said about the storylines, what they said about how the perspectives shift on how we view the queens, this was all very correct to me. I'm enjoying it. I like the cast a lot, and Onya has me rooting hard for her, so I'm invested. I'm also living for the delusions and bomb performances by the cast. It's entertaining me to the high heavens. Again, fully agree about Onya. I love a bad performance. I love a cringy bad performance. And I think that is what makes Drag Race so good, is that you have the really good and you have the really bad. The next one says, this is one of those seasons where I'm not at all invested in the actual competition aspect of the show, but I'm very invested in the reality TV aspect of the show. Just put this cast in front of cameras and let them create entertainment. I think this season suffers a bit being the season after Plain Jane's Drag Race, but overall I really like the season and I enjoy all the queens, which is rare. I feel like this season is helped because we are coming right after Plain Jane's Drag Race, because we saw that Plain, despite being one of the biggest villains the show has ever seen, was able to, still be liked by the fandom and brought a lot to the season, and people appreciated what she brought to the season. So I think that's allowing people like Cory, it's allowing people like Suzie, it's allowing people like Arrietty to be a little bit more villainous and speak their minds and really just give what we want to see, because they know from Plain Jane that the fandom can be on board with it and still enjoy you as a personality on their television screens. And I think it's also because Drag Race edits their villains a lot differently now. Like, we haven't seen a like villain edit in a really, really long time. Even Arrietty, who, I mean, did one of the most villainous things in Drag Race history this past week, had a very three-dimensional edit, and we knew a lot about her, and we knew what her motivations were, and we knew why she was doing and saying the things that she did. So I think just Drag Race editing their villains differently also makes the fandom not be as horrible to them. The next one says, a solid mid-season to me. My two main issues are that the cast as a whole has seriously underperformed, and the lack of not just a frontrunner, but any kind of feeling of story progression, which the show normally excels at. And this is, again, someone saying the exact opposite of what someone else said, where, you know, some people are happy that there isn't a front runner and someone that is very clearly going to take the season. This person feels differently, and it feels like it's not giving them the story progression that they're hoping for. I think this is like a very good story progression, because rather than the threats being kind of like forced down our throats, or maybe being like forced into being threats despite not doing maybe as well as their track record would say, it feels like everything is unraveling very, very naturally. But I think because Drag Race fans are so used to, you know, the riggery and the show kind of like shoving down our throats who is going to be the top four, you know, midway through the season, it's feeling like maybe we're not progressing super quickly. But I think it's more just like a natural thing. Like, this is just kind of where we're at. There's a lot of people left that are doing well and could take up those spots, and we're just gonna have to wait to, you know, getting closer to the end of the season to see who really will take up those spots. And I have to disagree about the story progression. I feel like Lexi has had a really great arc. Suzie's storyline has been a roller coaster. You know, Lydia and Cory, I thought, was a nice little slow burn storyline. And even early outs like, you know, Hormona, I feel like we understood her. And Crystal, like, we understood why she went home when she did. So I think that the storylines are progressing. It's just maybe not as reality TV highly edited as some past seasons have been. For me, it is being definitely a very mid-tier season, on the lower side. The cast is great interaction-wise, but I feel like that we don't know much about them personally, their origins, lives, interests, etc. Every contestant feels presented on a surface level for me, and the performance level is not as good as in some previous seasons. I don't think I will remember a lot of the outfits or challenge moments from the season. Still, it is enjoyable, but yeah. This one, they definitely aren't getting as deep into the personal stories. I feel like whenever they do, it's kind of like, it's like a mad dash of like, how many can we do at once? Like a couple weeks ago, it was like, you know, Arrietty talking about her EDs, and then, you know, Acacia talking about her cystic fibrosis, and Lexi talking about, like, they like to like put them all together in one little like mashup rather than like really give the time to like talk about it. So I think that is maybe a little bit different, but I think it's just because they have more drama to edit that they're not focusing as much on like the personal stories. But I'm thinking as we dwindle down and there's less queens and probably less drama, we will get more of the personal stories of the people that are left. Because I feel like we've gotten like lots of little nuggets of it, but not like a full, like, let's take 2 minutes or 3 minutes to just talk about this queen. Except with Lexi. Lexi is the queen of personal content. And it makes sense because her story line on the season has to do so much with like her own personal demons and inner conflicts and inner saboteur. This person says, I usually don't like it when the edit tries to convince us who are the possible winners, who is the villain, who is the underdog, etc. But this season, I actually really wish the edit would be a bit clearer, because at this point, everyone seems so mid and every high-low placement rather random, which I don't enjoy at all. Also, this season, in my opinion, suffers a lot from having a very young cast and no seasoned queens. Yes, Lexi is rather seasoned, but I mean the Tamishas, Latrice's, Chaz, Darian kind of seasoned. This might sound weird to me, but this season just doesn't feel very drag to me. I think we're focusing so much on, wow, this is a really young season. Wow, where are the powerhouses? But I think we could actually watch this season as like a nice example of like what this new generation of drag queens, what their drag is about, what is important to them in their drag, and what they can bring to the show, different from maybe past seasons, which have had, you know, a better blend of newer and older. So I agree, I want season 18, 19, 20, I want them all to be casting older, but if we're gonna have this young cast, I think we should at least look at it and really try and take something from it, you know, while we have it. Now some rapid fire. Meh season, extremely mid and underwhelming. The girls aren't bringing it in personality nor standard of competition. Completely forgettable. Okay, I think it's not my favorite season. A couple of strong contenders, but so much negativity and drama. with the events here in our nation, we need more positivity. I completely understand people who, don't want to see drama on television, but I could not disagree more. I want the drama. I want the conflicts. This is reality TV. And, there are some people who can't separate that from, the people off screen and will send them hate and all of that, obviously. But for me, I can separate it and I can just have a good time watching it. And so I want the drama. Like I was living for, Jules and Arrietty this week and kind of watching their friendship, fall apart and then them kind of sabotage each other. And like it's just such good TV. And I can't help but love it. I love Survivor. I love The Traitors. I love shows where you're really just watching people having conflict and working through it. And maybe that makes me a messy bitch, but I don't know. I think this season is delivering so much on that and how they're delivering the storylines. So I disagree, but I understand that is your perspective. Please make it stop immediately. It's enjoyable, but for me, it's a mid-season. There's that specific magic missing that makes the top tier seasons top. I'm enjoying it and not enjoying it at the same time. A very confusing season for me. This is one of the worst seasons of recent memory. And then we're going to finish with this person who said, I feel like I'm watching a whole different season than the rest of the comments. I think it's fantastic. The storylines are new and unpredictable. Suzie going from underdog to villain. Onya somehow having an underdog villain winner edit all at once. The drama has been the best it's been in years, and the girls are doing well on the challenges. Monopulence was great. Bitch, I'm a Drag Queen was extremely fun. The Rusical was phenomenal, and we got some fantastic looks from the ball. And despite what I believe the fans are irrationally overblowing, the Snatch Game was decent. It was. I think it's a pretty good season, and I think that people will be more receptive to it in hindsight. This I very much stand by. I think that, is this the best season of drag we've ever seen? No, we've had seasons with better, funnier performances or, better runways overall, better lip syncs. But I feel like when you're looking at all of the different aspects of what makes a Drag Race season good, a cast with great synergy and chemistry, check. Storylines that are fleshed out and make sense to the viewer, check. Fun drama that makes us, talk and laugh about it for the whole entire week after, check. People you're rooting for and people you're rooting against, check. Memorable challenge moments, memorable lip sync moments, memorable runways, check. Now, is it like the strongest on any of those? Maybe not, but the fact that it checks off so many boxes is what really makes me like this season. And from an editing standpoint, I really think they're doing a fantastic job piecing together the puzzle of what happened there and how to make it the most entertaining for viewers at home. So yes, I do think this is one of the best seasons we've gotten in years. And this is after, I would say like season 14 is one of my like comfort seasons, but I can acknowledge there are things wrong with it. And then season 15 for me was like good, fine. 16, great. This season I would say is fantastic. But obviously this fandom is very split on a lot of things with this season. So let me know in the comments below what you think about the season, what you think about some of the points that were brought up in this video, and what you would like to see from the last few episodes on this season. Also, I just want to shout out one of my internet friends who is starting their own channel with a video out now about Global All-Stars. Their name is Archie Merk. This is their channel. This is the video that they just put out. And I'll put the link to that in the description. Go support them. They are an amazing, and I'm really excited to see him on his YouTube journey. So the links to all of my social media are in the description down below. If you're not listening to the Rigged Recap, please go listen to the episode we just did with AJ Knox. I posted some reels from it because it is the most insane episode of the Rigged Recap we have ever had, and I had so much fun recording it and editing it.
Yeah. I don't get how it's shorts. I don't get how it's shorts. I've been looking at this look. I don't understand how it's shorts.
It looks like panty.
It does look like a panty. Maybe it's a meta commentary on how about how the hemlines of shorts keep getting higher and higher and the waistbands keep on getting lower and lower.
And how the fall of our society is in tandem with that.
And how the radiation is going to make our skin melt off, but because of censorship, our skin is still going to be around our private areas because the man doesn't want us to show it. It's a meta commentary on Western civilization and colonialism, and you guys just don't get it like I do.
Oh, her mind. Her
That's valid.
mind. You can listen to that wherever you listen to your podcasts. And also, me and Black Boy have a Survivor podcast that has the second episode that is about to drop within a couple days. So if you're interested in Survivor or you just like me and Black Boy talking shit, go check out our podcast. The link for that will also be in the description down below. So thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I will catch you all in the next one.